Hello again and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is Jesse and I am back for a hardware review and game accessibility video because this time we are taking a look at the Nintendo Switch 2. I did happen to get mine the day after launch. My Best Buy order did end up going through. It was kind of a weird deal. On a whim, I decided, well, I'll see if I can get a pre-order when that stuff sort of happened. You know, I had done the original pre-order from Nintendo, still haven't heard anything from them. So I just on a whim before I went to bed that night that pre-orders became available, I decided, well, let's take a look at Best Buy, or I think I started with Target. That didn't go anywhere. And as I was getting ready for bed, I got a pre-order through Best Buy. Didn't get a confirmation email, but the app said my pre-order went through. So I was like, well, let's see if what happens. And lo and behold, it shipped Friday morning, or Thursday morning. I had it that next day. So I've had the Switch 2 for about a week, and I have some thoughts. So we have the box here. Let me back out a little bit. This is the Mario Kart World Bundle. So you get the game digitally and you get the system, of course. It comes with the Switch 2, the dock, the little controller holder thing. I forget what they call that little thing. I don't think I even used it on the original Switch because I either play it docked with a Pro controller or I play it in handheld with the Joy-Cons. Now you can use your original Pro controller with the Switch 2 if you have one of those for the original Switch, but you cannot use, it doesn't have, of course, the new chat functionality, which I have not even played with yet because really I don't play all that much multiplayer and I really don't care. And from the footage I've seen of, like, I don't really want to buy another camera or anything like that for the chat, so whatever. I mean, the box, it is what it is. You know, there's not really a whole lot else to see. It looks like a Switch box, basically. And I have both systems here. This is the Switch 2. And then behind it here, I have the Switch 1 OLED with the Split Pad Pros connected. Now, I am, the one thing I will say about the Switch 2, ergonomically and comfort-wise, I am eagerly awaiting, I really, really hope Hori puts out the Switch, or the Split Pad Pros for the Switch 2, because the main problem I have with the Switch 2 is the Joy-Cons are slightly bigger, but they're still so thin. They are not ergonomic. They are not comfortable. I feel like I get claw grip after a short time using them, depending especially what game I'm playing. They're not comfortable for adult size, big hands like I have. That's my main complaint about the system. I'm trying to see, I'm trying to line them up here so you can kind of see. You have, I believe, I forget even what this Switch 1 was. It was like a 6-point-something inch screen. There, my camera's getting a little wonky. There we go. And we got a 7-inch screen here. It is noticeably big. It is noticeably bigger. And let me actually pop these off. And that way I can actually show you. I'll just yoink that off. Now what's really satisfying is, I'll show you how these come off in a minute, but so here are the systems themselves, and look at how, if I put one on top of the other, look at how big those are. Like, I'll line it up corner-wise. You got a you know, it is definitely noticeable. The screen size is a pleasant upgrade. I am disappointed that we don't have an OLED model. Like, even if they would have had 2 launch systems, like, oh, let's do a little, like a Series X, Series S kind of vibe. And, if you wanted to pay a little bit extra for I'll do that later. For the OLED, you could do that. But no, it's just an LCD screen, unfortunately. But what I will say is the quality of the LCD screen is still quite good. So, because I was stupid. I was trying to put the old Joy-Cons onto the new one. I wasn't even paying attention. Yeah. So, this is cool. The Joy-Cons, they're very similar shape to the original Switch. You notice you have the one extra button up here for the camera, or for the chat button, which I haven't even really used. So you have that down here, and you have the home button right above it. And then you got your joystick on the right-hand side. You got your 4 buttons here, A, B, X, Y. Same thing, you got your D-pad just as before. You got your same button that you had below that on the original Switch. You've got that. You've got your joystick and your plus and minus button above on each one. You got your triggers, your bumpers. But what I like about the new Switch, instead of sliding these rails, listen to this. It has this like magnetic. It feels so good. The snapping just, it feels good to do. You just take it off, put it back on, and on the back here, there's a little button right here, and all you do is you just hit that button, and then you pull it off. You don't have to worry about sliding it in the rails or anything like that. I'll take my other one here, slap it right in there. These do not really wiggle at all. There's not really any, it feels sturdy. It feels well put together. Let me get these other ones out of the way here. Now that I grabbed the right Switch, moron. So let me just go ahead and get these split pads on there, on the original. That way I can get this one out of the way. There we go. And I'll just set you down over here. Okay, now we have the main event. Like I said, this is the Switch 2. On the top, you have your power button per usual, and this phone, this stupid tripod wants to keep tilting my phone. But you have your power button. You got your 2 volume buttons. You have, now the nice thing is you have a USB port, a USB-C port right up here on the top, and you have a headphone jack right next to it, and you have another USB-C port on the bottom, and that's where you put it in the dock, or you can charge via either one. And then you've got some kind of, I think these are speakers. I'm not sure if those are speakers or cooling things, but I think they're speakers. And that's really about it. The kickstand, it's just, I like that it's not chintzy. Again, this feels, it's a nice metal kickstand. I can fold it out, and I can just set it down. There we go, hands-free. So if I want to put it on the desk or something, I can. If I do open up the kickstand, I literally just about 20 minutes ago, you see right there where my finger is, that is where you put the new micro SD Express card. You cannot use your micro SD card that you had for the original Switch, because this is it's a faster machine, and it requires a faster transfer rate for data and for loading games. So you have to get very specific high-speed micro SD Express cards. I bought a 256 model. There are some higher ones out there, I think, but they're extremely rare or hard to find right now because not a lot of devices currently use them. But it comes with 256 gig storage on the Switch itself. And so I've got 512 gig storage in here so far. So that's not bad. It still seems kind of laughably small when you think about how big games are these days. But you know, if I play a lot of indie games on here, I play a fair few first-party Nintendo games, that's fine, you know. This should keep me going for quite a while. Most of your Switch games, Switch 1 games, are backwards compatible. I've tried a fair few of them, and I haven't had any problems with that so far. So let's turn it on, because Nintendo has done literally the unthinkable, in my opinion. And I gotta fight with this stupid... My tripod is just not behaving today. I apologize. Nintendo has done the unthinkable in a good way. It's not perfect. It's far from perfect. But it's a start. And it is more than I was kind of expecting at this point. So I really hope they add more accessibility via firmware updates. But watch what happens when I hit the power button.
Home menu is currently suspended. Press A to continue. Press Y to open news.
Let's crank it up.
100%. Press the same button 3 times. Press B to go back. Home menu. Mario Kart World. Button. Horizontal list.
We have speech.
Plus 2 options. There are other lists above and below.
We have a screen reader on the Switch. Now, the bummer is when you take it out of the box, the initial setup does not support text-to-speech. So I had to use my phone to kind of zoom in. That is one thing. They carried over the magnifier from the original Switch, which is great. I use it all the time still, or a lot, in games. They have the screen reader, the text-to-speech, but they really need to have controller shortcuts so that at any time I can turn the screen reader on or off, including during the setup process when you take the system out of the box. So at any time I can hit the home button twice, and I just did an update literally a couple minutes ago. So I can pan around. I'm just using my left or right analog stick, and I can zoom in just like I did before, hit my home button twice again,
Mario Kart World.
And we're back out.
Horizontal list. 1 of 13.
So that you
Plus
can
2 options.
toggle.
There are other lists above and below.
But you cannot turn the magnifier on during the initial setup either. So they really need to, for the onboarding, for the out-of-box setup, they really need to put in a controller shortcut to let you turn those features on, and even give a prompt when you turn the machine on and it's at the point where it's ready. You know, if you wait a few seconds like a lot of other devices do, you could say, the system could just say, if you need a screen reader, press whatever the shortcut key is. You know, hit the home button 3 times maybe, or whatever they choose to make it. Now, the other thing is the text-to-speech, the screen reader. It works really well, actually, on the dashboard, the home screen, the settings area, which I'll go to in a bit. It does not also work on the eShop, which is a royal bummer, because that is another place where, you know, when I want to browse sales, I want to look at, I want to do things in the eShop. That is something, especially, again, it's not a game, it's not a third-party thing. Nintendo has control over the eShop. They make the eShop, just like they make the home screen and the dashboard for the Switch itself. So I really, really hope that Nintendo doesn't just stop here, because what we have here is, if you remember the PlayStation 4, I feel like that's sort of where we are here. You have surface-level menus. You have maybe a little bit deeper menu navigation than some of the PS4 screens, but you get a lot of like, oh, text-to-speech is not available here. You know, you go into a game, but especially you go into the eShop, things like that. You don't get the menu narration, text-to-speech, screen reader, whatever. So, you know, I can hit the left and right. I can use my analog stick or my D-pad.
Rally Rock in Racing. Button. Mario Kart World. Rally Rock. Blizzard Arcade Collection. Button.
Yeah, a little rock and roll racing there. I played a little bit of that earlier, or a couple days ago.
Fast Fusion. Button.
Fast Fusion, that's kind of an F-Zero type of game that I haven't gotten around to playing with, but I picked it up for like $14 or something like that.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Button.
I put Mario
Final
Kart 8
13.
Deluxe on there
Host
because why
options.
not?
Super Nintendo Entertainment System.
Got a bunch of...
Castlevania Advanced Collection.
Yeah,
Button.
those are
7.
good.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Shredder's Revenge. Vampire Survivors. Castlevania Dominus Collection.
Got my
Nintendo
DS and my
Nintendo
Game Boy
Classics.
Advance collecting
Button.
on there. Got my
11 of 13.
GameCube stuff
Host
on here
options.
now. And I did start a game of Wind Waker.
The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. Button.
I
12 of
I
13.
hadn't gotten
Host
around.
options.
I remember playing this a tiny bit when Riley was up here, and we just got distracted with so many other things. I never got back to it, and the performance was not the best. It had little hiccups here and there, and I've heard that even without like major patches or updates or things, a lot of the Switch 1 games actually just benefit pretty well from the performance of the Switch 2. So I am going to, I really, really want to love Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. But I don't know. It's just something about, like, again, the weapon breaking, a lot of the crafting and the cooking and the not having some accessibility stuff for those games. They didn't click with me as much.
Nintendo. The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening.
Link's
Button.
Awakening
12 of 13.
is more of your
Host
traditional
options.
Zelda, overhead 2D. It's kind of got this cool, almost like a, what would you even call it? Like almost like a plastic toy look to everything. But it's, again, it's more your traditional Zelda, and I want to play through that. So that's what I'm going to do here pretty soon.
Show more.
And then
Button.
just like the
13
original
of 13.
Switch, you got your show more. If I go in here,
Mario Kart World.
I got my
Button.
grid.
Vertical and Super Mario Odyssey. Nintendo 64.
Super Mario Odyssey.
Super Mario Odyssey.
So let's just go in here. Let's just go
Who's using the
into
software? BGFH.
who's
Button.
using my software. I mean, all of this should look very familiar to you. This should look, I mean, it runs well. Let's see, what do I got to hit here? I think I got to hit
Super Mario Odyssey!
Chill Mario.
93%.
All right. And I think I left off. Now, what's cool is because I have Nintendo Switch Online, it actually supported cloud saves. And when I downloaded, because I set this up as a new Switch, I didn't transfer over everything from my old one. And it literally just, when I launched Mario Odyssey, for instance, it said, oh, you have some cloud saves. Do you want to download them? I said, yes, I do. It took about 5 seconds, and I was in. Boom. And it left me off right where I was on the original system. And I'm trying to play through the phone here, so it's a little... Let's go down to the city here real quick. I love this game. This game, I mean, first year of the Switch 1, Nintendo just freaking nailed it. I love this game. I mean, I was hoping for Zelda, like I'd love Zelda, but honestly,
Home menu. Super
honestly,
Mario Odyssey. Playing. BGFH.
Mario Odyssey
Button.
was the
Horizontal
game
list.
for me.
1 of 13.
So,
Software.
that's
Plus options.
loading
There are
a
other
Switch
lists of
1 game.
Nintendo Switch Online. Button. Game chat. Button.
So I
2
haven't
of 10.
really gone in there
News.
much.
Button. Get news. Button.
News,
3 of
meh.
10. Nintendo eShop. Button. 4 of
eShop.
10.
Now, what I will say about the eShop is it loads a hell of a lot faster than the original Switch eShop did. It is almost kind of painful navigating the original eShop. Just the way things load, it takes forever. You scroll down and then it's choppy. It takes a minute for images to load in. The performance of not just the dashboard, but the eShop especially, it's a very similar... well, hell, I'll just go in here real
Who's
quick.
using Nintendo eShop?
I'll go in
Beyond this
just so
point,
you can
text on
see
some
it. Now,
screens can be read out.
again, no text to speech, but, it's the same sort of thing. You got your categories on the left, but, like, look at how fast it loads compared to, I mean, you look at how the old Switch would do. If let's say, okay, I want to go in there, let's go and scroll down. Like, it's so much faster. And if they would support text to speech, the menu narration, I would absolutely love this. So let's back out of the eShop.
Home menu. Nintendo
And
eShop. Button.
let's go look at some
Horizontal list.
accessibility
4 of
features,
10.
shall we?
Mario. Nintendo. Album. Button.
So
5 of 10.
album.
Game share. Button. Controllers. Button. Virtual game cards.
Now, virtual
8 of
game
10.
cards, this is something that they released for a Switch 1 update too, but this is how the Switch 2 works. And for digital games, basically, every game that you buy or you own now, it kind of uses this virtual game card system to where, like, your account owns it, and then if you have, let's say, a Switch 1 or multiple Switch 1s or a couple of Switch 2s or any combination, when you are logged into that account, it's like there's like a little animation of like, oh, we're going to put a little virtual cartridge, we're going to load it into your system that you're using, and then if you try to use it, like let's say I was playing my Switch 2, and then I grabbed my Switch OLED and a friend of mine wanted to play that, they couldn't play that at the same time. So you're not really transferring license from one Switch to another, but as long as you're logged into each system, you can just kind of go back and forth between them.
System settings.
But let's go in
Button.
and let's look at some accessibility
System settings.
first. So
Airplane
again,
mode. Button.
everything
Vertical
is
list.
very nice
2
and
of 18.
responsive.
Screen brightness. Airplane mode. Button.
And the
2 of
voice is
18.
not bad. Actually, I think it's very, very similar, if not the same. It really sounds like the PlayStation text-to-speech. I don't know what voice or what engine that is.
Screen brightness. Button. 3 of 18.
But, like, I'm thinking, when I was playing The Last of Us 1 and 2, it sounds just like that voice. It's like, where did I know that voice? 'Cause when I heard it after I got the Switch going, I'm like, where did I hear that voice? Like, oh yeah, that's the Sony voice. That's the PlayStation Last of Us voice.
Bluetooth I/O. Button.
So
Airplane mode.
we got
Button. Support / health and safety.
so
Button.
health and
Airplane
safety,
mode.
airplane
Button.
mode,
Screen brightness. Button.
brightness
3 of 18.
options.
Bluetooth I/O. Button.
We can
4 of
connect
18.
Bluetooth headsets to it.
Internet. Button.
Internet,
5 of 18.
Wi-Fi.
Parental controls. Button. Parental controls.
Parental controls
Button.
is just me,
6 of
so I
18.
haven't played with
Parental
any of this
controls,
stuff. I
which
don't
is 7 minutes on how the
care.
system is- Accessibility. Button.
Let's go in
7 of 18.
here.
Button mapping. Button. Vertical list. 1 of 13.
So button mapping, I have not yet played with this fully, but it seems like now with the Switch 2, you can actually make custom controller layouts for individual games, not just on a system level, which I'm really hoping is the case because for whatever reason, like on the Switch 1, I tried, I would use the N64 Switch Online games. And you would think, again, Nintendo, they put out the N64 games via Switch Online. You go into the app. But for whatever reason, the layout for the button layout for Nintendo 64, they didn't bother to make a coherent button mapping that made sense. Like, it's just stupid and awkward and just it's dumb. So what I'm hoping is that maybe if I went and loaded up the N64 app, I could make a separate mapping, and because there are presets that you can make apparently, and then when I go into an N64 game, I don't have to have the N64 controller, because what if I wanted to play this in handheld mode with the Joy-Cons, or if I eventually get a Split Pad Pro if one of those comes out. So, that'll be really handy. And again, for people with mobility impairments or just people who want different custom control schemes for different things, you can do that.
Button mapping and quick settings.
So
Off.
input
Toggle button.
settings,
Text size. Large.
text
Button.
size. Now
313.
watch this.
Large.
You can even
Selected.
go larger.
Button. Maximum. Not select. Text size.
Dude,
Maximum.
look
Button.
at that.
Vertical
Like,
list.
look how
313.
big that is. I mean, that's impressive. Honestly, that is a lot bigger than I thought they would even go.
Maximum. Large.
So we'll go to
Not-
large
text
for
size.
now, just so you can
Large.
see it easier.
Button. Bold text. On.
Bold
Toggle
text,
button.
they have a
4 of
bold
13.
text option, which I absolutely enabled. That helps greatly.
High contrast. On.
Now,
Toggle button.
I don't have
5 of
high
13.
contrast on because I'm just using a dark theme and that works fine for me. But if I go into high contrast,
On. Off. On.
and it does, I don't know, like,
Off. Zoom. On.
so
Toggle
zoom,
button.
I
6 of
can
13.
turn that
Lets you zoom
on.
in by tapping home twice quickly.
Yep, so again, that came over from the Switch 1. That is very much appreciated, especially when there's no narration in a lot of the games, or any of them, they're really yet.
Change display colors. Default. Button.
Change
7 of
display
13.
colors.
Mono audio. Off.
Mono
Toggle
audio
button.
if you need
8 of 13.
that.
Text to speech. Use text to speech. On.
So
Toggle
text to
button.
speech,
9 of
there
13.
you go.
Reads out text content that appears on screen. Readout can be restarted by pressing and holding a control stick. Not all screens support screen reader functionality.
Right, so right there it says not all screen support screen reader functionality.
Voice type. Type 1.
Yeah,
Button.
there are two
10 of 13.
voices. I much prefer this voice. I'll
Type
show you
1.
the other one.
Selected. Type 2. Not.
Text to speech. Voice type. Type 2.
This one
Button.
seems a little bit
Vertical list.
more
10 of 13.
compressed, lo-fi.
Text to speech speed. Voice type. Type 2. Button. 10 of
Yeah,
13.
there's a little bit more of a muffled quality to it.
Type 2. Type 1.
Text to speech. Voice
It
type.
just sounds
Type
clearer.
1. Button.
So
Vertical
yeah, we'll
list.
keep
10 of
that.
13. Text to speech speed. 178%.
Now,
Slider.
yeah, it starts
11
out
of
at
13.
100, which was slow. This is a pretty good speed, but you can go all the way up.
300%. Text to speech volume. 100%. Text to speech speed. Voice type. Type 1. Button. 10 of 13.
Come on.
Use text to speech. On. Toggle button. 9 of 13. Reads out text content that appears on screen. Readout can be restarted by pressing.
So
and
if you're
holding a control
used
stick.
to
Not all screens support screen
screen,
reader functionality.
if you're used to speech, that can go pretty
Voice
good.
type. Text to speech speed.
So let's
300%. Slider.
knock it
11 of 13.
down.
238%. 211%. 182%. 173%. 187%.
That's about right. Well, yeah, let's leave it there.
Text to speech volume. 100%.
You have a
Slider.
separate
12 of
volume
13.
slider for the text to speech, which is great.
Change speech to and from text during game chat. Button. 13 of 13. Text. Change speech to and from text during game chat. Button. 13 of 13.
So that is for text chat. I think it uses text to speech for that. So those are your accessibility settings.
Button. Vertical. Data management. Button.
Your data
18.
management.
System memory.
If I-
Free space. 161 gigabytes. Micro SD express card. Free space. 235 gigabytes.
So you hear that it tells me both the storage on my system and the SD card that I just put in there. So it sees both. If I
Software
go in
data.
there,
Move. Quick delete. Move system / micro SD express card data.
so I can move
Button.
stuff
1
back
of
and
7.
forth from one storage to the other, and that does seem accessible.
Data management. Users. Button. 9 of 18.
I only have one user because that's all I need.
Controllers and accessories. Button.
So I
10
can
of
do
18.
stuff with that. I can customize and do controller settings and whatnot.
Audio. Button.
Audio.
11 of 18. Current output and input. Audio output. Audio output source. Automatic. Button. Vertical list.
So this is
1
where,
of
like,
11.
if I wanted, like, you know, I think you can, like, again, you can have Bluetooth headsets and stuff. You can output to those.
TV sound. Automatic. Button. 2 of
TV,
11.
this is where if you have, like, a surround sound, you can manually set it to use more of, like, your surround sound or, you know, headphones or whatever.
System virtual surround. On.
So
Toggle
that's
button. 3 of 11.
system virtual
Apply spatial effects.
sound.
Headphone virtual surround. On.
Same
Toggle
thing
button.
there.
4 of 11. Apply spatial effects on headphone audio when playing sound from software that supports 5.1 surround.
Okay, yeah.
Mute when headphones disconnect. On. Toggle button.
Okay.
5 of 11. Lower max headphone volume. On. Toggle button. 6 of 11.
So that's kind of putting a cap on your headphone volume to try to save your hearing. I've heard some people say that sometimes some games can still be a little bit quiet, so they will turn that off, especially if they have a good high quality pair of headphones.
Test output. Button. 7 of 11. Audio input. Input microphone. Automatic.
So it does have a microphone
8 of 11.
on it for like the voice chat stuff. I have not used that, but I've heard it's pretty good.
Microphone noise suppression. On. Toggle button.
Okay, so
9
you
of
got some
11.
noise suppression.
Microphone input volume. 100%. Test microphone.
Okay,
Button.
let's do it.
11 of 11. Record yourself using your microphone and then listen back. Once recording starts, speak into the mic. Begin recording. Button. 2 of 2.
Hello, everybody. This is just a quick test of the microphone on the Switch 2.
Audio will now play back. Make sure you can hear the recorded voice audio.
Hello, everybody. This is just a quick test
of the microphone on the Switch 2.
Okay, that is really loud.
Microphone.
Microphone
Vertical
works.
list. 11 of
Wow.
11. Current output and input. System speakers. System microphone.
Okay, so there's your audio.
Button. Display. Button. 12 of
Got some
18.
display settings here. I'm not going to go through all the settings, but
Me. Button. Display. Me. Button.
Oh,
13 of
me's
18.
and stuff.
You can
Yeah,
create
I
your
haven't
custom
even
me
set
and
any
use
of
it.
that up
Amiibo.
yet.
Button. 14 of 18.
Amiibo, I have
Edit
some
or
of
delete data
those
saved to Amiibo.
in a bag somewhere. I haven't used those in a while, but this does support Amiibos.
Themes. Button.
So
15
here's
of
where you
18.
can change your light and dark theme.
Basic light. Not selected. Basic dark.
Embrace
Selected.
the
Button.
darkness.
Themes.
Got to
Button.
do the dark
Vertical list.
theme.
Notifications. Button.
Got your
16 of 18.
notification settings.
Sleep mode. Button.
Sleep mode.
17 of 8. System. Button.
And then your
13 of
system.
18.
This is where you go to do system updates and stuff.
System update. Button.
So
Vertical
I
list.
just,
1 of 17.
it must have just
Check
had
for
a
update to
small
system
update
version.
when I
Currently
updated
January
my,
1st, 20.
when I updated my, when I put in my micro SD card. It gave me a quick update.
Dock update. Button.
So you have a
17.
separate
Checks
dock
for updates to
update if you
Nintendo
want
Switch 2 dock
that.
firmware. System nickname. BGFH's Switch 2. Button. Manually unlock screen after sleep mode. On. Toggle button. 4. System lock.
You can
On.
even do a
Toggle button.
passcode
5 of 17.
lock
Locks
if
your
you
system with a
want.
pin to protect it from people who don't play on. Language. English. Region. The America. Date and time. Button. 8 of system battery. Percent. Off. Toggle button. 9 of 17.
Let's turn that on.
On. Stop charging around 90%. Off. Toggle button.
And you
10 of
have
17.
that kind of like you
Short
do
for
have
amount
on
of
the
time system can be
iPhone.
used while unplugged but can help reduce loss of battery capacity over time.
So yeah,
If
it's
turned on, the system may charge to 100% to ensure accurate battery level display.
it's supposed to prolong your battery life. You know, over the a lot more, several more charges. I just have it charged 100% for now.
Serial
But
information. Button. Oh, end user license agreement. Intellectual property.
and there you
notice.
go.
System.
I mean, there's
Button.
your look at
Vertical
how
list.
just how
18 of 18.
smooth this is.
Home menu.
It works
System
really
settings.
well.
Button. Virtual game cards.
If I go to virtual
Button.
game
8 of
cards,
10.
let's say that I wanted to install one of my
This
old
virtual game
Switch
cards
1
do you want to
games.
see? BG.
I want to see
Virtual game
mine,
cards.
and we can go in
Rally rock and
here.
racing. Button.
And
Vertical and horizontal
let
list.
me see
1 of
here.
108. Quick load. Button. Filter. Button. 2 of 4. Reorder. Button. Quick load.
I'm trying to
Button. 1 of
remember.
4. Rally rock and racing. Button. Vertical and horizontal list. Best fusion. Rep. Super punch patrol. Button.
Let's see.
Bayonetta 3. Button.
Okay, yeah.
37
So
of
it is
186.
showing me everything.
The Legend of
So
Zelda. Tears of the Kingdom. Button. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Metroid Prime Remastered. Guardian Tales. But. Double Dragon. Button. Capcom Arcade Second Stadium. The Takeover. Button. Steam World Dig. But. Limbo. Button. Doom. Button. 75 of Retro Game Pack. But. Saints Row the 4th. But. Gunman Clive HD Collection. Metroid Dread. Tetris Registered Trademark Effect. Connected. Cruise and Blast. But. Mario Golf.
I've got
Super
quite a
Rush.
few
But.
original Switch
103 of
games
186.
digitally here
Game Builder Garage.
that I could put,
Button.
that I could download to
Pac-Man
here.
God of Roboto. But. Pac-Man 99. Button.
Ooh.
Project Warlock. Button.
Yeah,
113
Project
of
Warlock.
186. Super Mario 3D World plus
Some
Bowser's
good stuff
Fury.
in here.
Blizzard Arcade Collection. The Ninja Saviors Arcade Archives Tecmo Bowl. Arkanoid versus
And
Space
if I were to
Invaders.
hit A on one of these, it
129
would
of
just ask if I
186.
wanted to install them. And then it would tell me that, hey, you've inserted the virtual game card, and when you can play it as soon as it's done downloading. And then when you launch it, if I have a cloud save, boom, it'll be there. And there you go. So, I mean, it reads this, so I can I love that I can manage my data. I can download games I already own from the old system. I can manage my SD card and my system storage. All of that works with text to
Home menu.
speech.
Virtual game cards.
If they could
Button.
just get the
Horizontal
dang,
list. 8 of 10. There's a separate list above.
if they could get the eShop to work. Oh, the other thing that I don't think works. Let me go back in here again because I
These
want
virtual
to.
game cards do you want to see? Virtual
Was
game
there a
cards.
search? I don't know if there's a
Rally rock and racing.
search.
But. Quick load. Button. Filter. Button. Reorder. Button. Help. Button. 4 of 4. Reorder. Help. Button.
You
4
think
of
there would
4.
be a search here?
Reorder. Filter. Button. 2 of 4.
Let me see.
Loaded on this system. Not loaded on another system. Not loaded on any system.
I was gonna try to.
Software. Not selected. Button. 5 of downloadable content. Not upgrade pack. Not
I was
selected.
going
Button. 7
to
of 7.
see if I could find
Filter.
Brock the
Button.
Investigator,
Vertical list. 2 of
so I
4.
could put that
There's a
on
separate
here
list to the
because
right.
that is one Switch. Oh wait, no, I don't have that digitally. That's right. I bought the physical version. I just have the PC version of that. But yeah, so like if you had Brock the Investigator, you had MK10 or MK11 or MK1. Well, I don't know if MK1 run. It might run better on this now. But yeah, I mean, so all of this stuff works fine. Let's
Virtual
wrap
game
it
cards.
up with a
Button.
little bit
Horizontal.
of.
Rally rock and racing. Mario Kart World.
Let's go into Mario Kart World
Close
real
the software
quick.
you're using. Any
Yeah,
insane
we'll
data.
close Mario
Who's
Odyssey
using the software?
and we'll go in here. So yeah, unfortunately, the keyboard I don't believe speaks either, which is really kind of stupid. That's another thing they desperately need to fix. I have played some Mario Kart 8 quite a bit here, and there's try to back it up a little bit so you can see better. Kind of got your honky tonk title music here. And you have a single player, multiplayer, all that kind of stuff. And I can go Grand Prix, and I can go, what is this called again? Knockout Tour. That is actually really fun. You have your regular Grand Prix, but then your Knockout Tour is where you have basically, it's, your open world, but you're going from basically one end of the world to the other, and you have like 6 checkpoints, and it's like an elimination thing where you have to be 16th, then you have to be 12th, then you have to be 8th, and you've got 24 racers. Let me turn this down.
80%.
You're fighting with 24 or 23 other racers, and sometimes there is just like shells and items flying everywhere. It's chaos. So I'll just show you a little bit of a race just so you can kind of see. The loading times are not bad. We'll just do a grand. Actually, no, you know what? Let's do this. Let's just, because I think I can just go like this. And now I'm in the free play. You have an open world thing here, and I can just. And there are little things that there are like collectibles you can find. There are little P switches that you can do that will give you little objectives and stuff. I haven't done too much of the open world stuff. I've been really concentrating on the Grand Prix. I recognize this song. It's an interesting version of it. Yeah, you got a new big jump thing that'll not just gliding or not just turning, but if I hold down the jump button, I do a little hop, and you can grind on rails in this game, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I mean, you can do the free roam and then go back to my title here. I've been really trying to unlock characters and carts. So if I go in here, I got a whole bunch of characters there. Bunch of characters. Oh yeah, my smooth jazz. I got one character there I got to do yet. Still a lot of characters to unlock. I got to do this. Some of the characters you have to get through the Kamek item, where he'll transform you into a random character. So yeah, we're back to there. Let's say I choose Toad again, and then you have carts. I can hit Y. I can see the stats. You have like weight, speed, acceleration, and handling. You got your character weight, but then you have your cart stats and everything. And I like that it's simplified a little bit. I don't have to choose the glider and the tires and the cart. All you have to do is choose your character and your cart this time. But yeah, I mean, it plays really well. I really haven't noticed any frame rate dips. It looks good. It sounds fine. What did they say? There's over 200 different audio tracks. So I hope they add that to Nintendo Music soon, the Nintendo Music app. Because I want to hear all the sound, or all the music. But like I said, I've played a lot of Mario Kart World. I've played a little bit of the Blizzard Arcade Collection, so I played some Rock and Roll Racing. I've played one or two other Switch 1 games just to see how they played. I did play, they do have the GameCube games, you know, in addition to Game Boy and Nintendo, Super Nintendo, all of that. And I tried to play a little bit of Wind Waker. Unfortunately, it's not the HD version, but hey, we have Wind Waker on the Switch now, which is cool. I do want to play some Soul Calibur 2 because it's got Link in it. And, you know, it'd be interesting to see. I really, really, really hope we get Eternal Darkness maybe around Halloween this year. I would love to see that come to the GameCube online thing. But, yeah, I mean, you know, I've put it through its paces. I've played several different games with it. I'm not really showing you the dock in this video because, I mean, there's not really much to show. If, you know, it's the dock. It's pretty much the same identical thing as the first one, except on the back of it, you pop the back off. You've got your USB-C port, you've got an HDMI port, and you've got an Ethernet port. And then on the front left side of it, you have two USB-A ports, and that's where you can like plug in a controller or you plug in your camera accessory, whatever. I have not actually, you know, the one thing I have not tried,
Home menu.
and I'm
Mario
kind
Kart
of
World.
curious.
Playing.
I totally keep forgetting because I don't have a game, or there's no game where I really want to use it. Let me get my kickstand out and let me pull this left or right Joy-Con off. And if so supposedly, like, you're supposed to be able to use the mouse feature on, I think, oh wait, oh yeah, okay, it's a little hard to see with me being far away, but yeah, see, now it doesn't read when you hover though. So if I hover using mouse mode, you hear the little ticking of it, but you don't have like the zoom text hover feature or the NVDA or like like when you hover over something, the text to speech would read. So it doesn't seem to read. You have to use the actual control stick or the D-pad in order to, oh, this still feels so good. I love the way that clicks in. But yeah, I mean, the mouse mode does work. I have not really played with it with any of the games. I'm trying to remember when that wheelchair basketball game comes out, because that's not out yet, I don't think. I think that's just going to be, I think that's just going to be a launch window title. But I mean, overall, I'm pretty happy with the Switch. I mean, it is exactly what we all sort of expected it to be. You know, it's a little bigger screen. Kind of sad that it's not OLED, but I love the screen size. The build quality seems great. There's nothing wrong with that. The Joy-Cons snap in a lot better. I really, really wish the Joy-Cons were a bit more ergonomic, because for people with large hands like myself, you get a little bit of claw grip, and it's, no, especially my right hand, especially when I'm going, like when I'm using the controllers here, and then for me, I have to oftentimes, when I'm in a game, I'll have to go toggle from being, you know, controlling the game to popping down here to double tap, you know, to turn my magnifier on and off. And it's not ergonomic at all. So my hands do tend to feel it, you know, even after a fairly short period of time, which is unfortunate. So, Hori, get cracking, man. Let's get the Split Pad Pro grips for the Switch 2 out there, because I will pick those up. You know, the storage is fine. I mean, we'll see. I do have an SD card for it now. Battery life, I would say, is not great. I can get a couple hours out of it. I've mainly been playing Mario Kart, and I can usually, I don't know, about 2 hours or so. It kind of whines about being needing to be charged. And I will say, even in game, if you're downloading something in the background and it completes, or if you get a battery low notification, those things do read. So those system level things, even when you're in a game, the screen reader does read those. So that is nice. So we just need to really get games that also support it. And we also need to make it work on the startup. We need to make it work in the eShop. And then we'll be pretty good. Then I think we would be pretty
Mario
set.
Kart World.
Oops.
Playing. BGFH. Button. 1 of 13. X to close software.
So yeah, I mean, aside from the lack of OLED, the maybe less than stellar battery life, and the ergonomics of the Joy-Cons, I mean, it's a solid system. It performs much better than the original Switch does. I've been hearing comparisons from players and even developers saying that it's kind of between the PS4 and the Xbox Series S as far as performance goes. Even games like Cyberpunk seem to run pretty well from what I've heard. So yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of your modern developers are going to be able to, at least for a little while, port some of the modern games to the system. And so here's the thing: is it worth buying right now? I have mixed thoughts, because on one hand, like, I kept my pre-order because, well, I really wanted to check out the accessibility, for one. And for two, we're in these weird times now where traditionally a system comes out, you pay whatever the full price is, and then a year, 2, 3 goes down the road, and the prices go down. Oh no, not now. Like the Xbox, I talked about this in other videos, the Xbox systems and accessories prices have gone up. Sony has their PlayStation 5 Pro. That is really expensive. You have, if you don't get the bundle, Mario Kart 8 is $80. That's damn expensive. A lot of games are $70. And then you have the whole controversy of the physical game. Oh, I forget even what they call them. Like, you have a few games that are actually physical game cards where the game itself is on the data is on the cartridge. But then you have these virtual game cards where basically you buy a physical cartridge and it's just, basically here's the coupon code for your eShop. And you have to have the cartridge in, I think, to, validate that you own the game. So it's like you have this physical product that is still not, like, you don't have the game on it. And I'm not really a big fan of that, I don't like that. So, like, in addition to wanting to see the accessibility, unfortunately, with our wonderful government the way it is right now, and just the industry itself as it is right now, I'm like, yeah, the Switch 2 is a little bit expensive, but if I'm going to pay $500 for it now, who knows? A year from now, they might jack it up to $600 or more, if all this tariff nonsense doesn't stop. So I'm like, well, with the potential of, I was joking with a friend of mine the other day. I said, buying game stuff is almost like the stock market now. It's like, do I buy now? Do I buy low and hope it doesn't go up? Or do I wait and hope it goes down? Like, it shouldn't be that hard. It should be like, if I don't buy it now, it'll go down in price later, as it always has. But no, we're in such a weird spot right now with everybody trying to suck as much money out of you as humanly possible. So yeah, I'm like, well, I guess I'll lock in the price now and get it when I can. And again, I very much appreciate the accessibility. Love the text-to-speech. It's a good voice. It's responsive for where it works. And if it would just work with the eShop and the onboarding, add some controller shortcut to turn the screen reader on and off, it would be a pretty nice little thing. And I would love to see more games, especially being more powerful now. Games that are maybe on PC or Xbox. Like, you could put As Dusk Falls on here. You could put, you could port things like As Dusk Falls. You could port The Veil. You could port, any number of, think about any other games that are, you're not going to see The Last of Us and things like that. But some of these third-party, either indie games or AA, AAA games that are third-party, the Switch would probably run them fine. And so we could start to see Nintendo consoles even have a few more accessible games. Like I said, people can already play your fighting games, your Street Fighters, your Mortal Kombats, and then your Brock the Investigator. That is here. So, it's early, but there's hope,
Switch online. Button. Horizontal. 1 of 10.
There's hope. Like I said, a year ago, we were, even 6 months ago, I'm like, oh, is Nintendo even going to bother to do anything with blind accessibility? Are we going to get any text-to-speech? Is it going to be really horrible if they do? For what is here, it's solid. They just need to expand it. And I really, really hope they do. So that is kind of my impressions of the Nintendo Switch. One thing I forgot to mention about when I did the initial setup, it was kind of interesting because I said I was going to talk about this on a tweet earlier. So as I said, I had to use my phone to magnify, the screen to read the different prompts and things. But what I ended up also trying is I had my Meta Ray-Ban glasses on, and I turned the Live AI mode on that's available now, and it did an okay job. Whenever a new screen would appear, I would say, hey, what's on the screen? And it would tell me, and I would say, what button is highlighted? And it would generally tell me, and it was, I verified it via magnification, and it did work. The real limitation that it has right now is, like I said, every time you get to a new screen and I say, hey, what's on my screen? It would tell me, but let's say that I was on a screen, let's say okay, what is highlighted now?
Sleep mode. Button. Nintendo Switch online.
So Nintendo Switch Online. If it would tell me, oh, the Nintendo Switch Online is highlighted. But then if I moved over to
Get news. But Nintendo eShop.
the Nintendo eShop, and then I asked now what's highlighted, it would see that the screen is largely the same, and so it wouldn't necessarily pick up that, oh, I moved my cursor, and it would still tell me that the Switch Online icon was highlighted when it wasn't. And no matter what I did, I couldn't get it to basically refresh and say, hey, no, look and tell me what new item, what menu item I moved to. But if the screen itself changed, if I went to the eShop and then the screen looked totally different, then it would look again and it would give me the updated information. So if we could get Meta to do to recognize the subtlety of not just when a full screen or the full scene changes of what it looks at, but when it's looking at the same thing and minor changes happen, it was really cool because I was almost able to set up the Switch 2 with my Meta glasses, but it wasn't quite, the subtleties didn't quite work, and there were some things that it kind of fell apart on, so I did have to fall back on magnification for a few screens, especially for like when adjusting, if the default item wasn't the one I wanted and I wanted to select something else, that didn't work. I didn't even have to use the keyboard to sign into my Switch account. It basically gave me a QR code on the screen. I scanned it with my phone, and it brought me to the Nintendo website on my phone. And my phone remembered my Nintendo information because I had the password saved. And it said, oh, okay, yep, this is you. It gave me a text code. I entered the text code in. And once I was actually logged on to the Nintendo Switch Online on my phone, my Switch 2 saw it, and then boom, I was logged in. So even the sign-in process, the cloud save process was very smooth. It recognized all the games I own from the Switch 1. I've played several of them, so I know they work. Overall, I think the only other downside I would say is like if you're a gamer that plays games on multiple platforms, a lot of the launch titles that are for the Switch 2 specifically are available elsewhere, and you have probably played them if you've wanted to play them already. But if you maybe mainly just play on Nintendo systems and maybe you haven't played some of these other games on other systems, what is there, like 20, 25 launch titles or something like that? You've got some Street Fighter stuff, you've got your Cyberpunk, you've got a couple racing games. I forget even what other launch titles are there, but the main one, of course, like for me, was Mario Kart. We have Donkey Kong Bonanza coming in July. Presumably, we should hopefully have Metroid Prime 4 by the end of this year. I mean, God, they've been in development long enough. You would hope that by the end of the year that it would. And who knows what other surprises they'll have, for the second half of the year. But as far as like new Switch original games, exclusives, first party especially, there's not a lot there. If you have your Switch 1 library, you might want to play some of your favorite games on the Switch 2, because your performance is going to be probably a lot better. I really, really do want to get back into Zelda Link's Awakening. So, yeah, that's really a look at the Nintendo Switch 2. I really like it so far. I really hope that Nintendo continues to improve the accessibility so that totally blind players can get around the system more, find and download games from the eShop and things, and set up the system independently themselves. But anyway, I hope you guys found the video helpful. Hope you enjoyed it. Give it a like if you did. You can follow me on Twitter at BGFH79, Blue Sky at Illegally Cited, illegally-cited.com, and of course, right here on YouTube. Until next time, I will chat with everybody again later.